So the Plum Money app have launched a new cash management option called Plum Interest, and in this account they take advantage of something called money market funds. I made a video about half a year ago which was actually pretty popular, showing a first look into the Plum Money app, and I received quite a few comments about a follow-up video, so I guess this will be it. So in this video I'm going to go through the Plum app once again and introduce their new cash management option called Plum Interest. So get £5 free cash back when you sign up to Plum using my link in the description down below. All you have to do is hold £100 for 90 days. By the way, this material is only intended for a UK audience. So this is the screen that I get when I log into my Plum Money app, and as you can see currently I only have 2 pence in the account, and the feature that we're going to look at today is under the pockets option. So if we go into pockets, we can see that there is a primary pocket and a new one called Plum Interest. Now in the corner you can see that it says 4.99% VAR, so that's a variable annual rate, and basically what it means by variable is that this number can change, so it can go up and down. There's not a fixed amount of return you can expect when going into Plum Interest, and as we have seen from the recent interest rate hikes, if the interest rates go up further, the amounts that you will see here will increase correspondingly. Now if we go into it, we can learn more about the Plum Interest account. So currently it is advertised at 4.99% variable annual rate of return. So this number, like I said, is subject to change, and essentially what the Plum Interest account does is that it bases itself around a money market fund. And what money market funds are, it's a type of investment that you can put your money into that is backed by very safe assets, such as things like government bonds, which are backed up by the full security of the government. So what this means is that this account is not a savings account because this is still an investment. There is very low risk when investing in money market funds. However, there's always a risk that you can lose out on some of your capital. So you may have noticed that banks are still not giving out very high rate of return, and in the cases where they are giving out high numbers, anything close to 5%, there's always a caveat and there's always a deposit limit, or you have to lock your money up for a long period of time. So with this account, you don't have to lock your money up and you can withdraw at any time. Given that you have 1 working day's notice, you can just withdraw your money there and then it will be processed back into your Plum pocket, which then you can transfer straight to your bank account. So like I said, currently they are advertising 4.99% earn after the fees are included, and there will be some fees explained later on in this video. So at this given moment in time, 5% is actually very high. It is more than you'll get, like I said before, in most high street banks, if not all of them. And the reason why you're getting higher amounts is because they are based on money market funds. So banks aren't really incentivized to actually provide a lot of interest because first of all, they have to be making a profit on the deposit. So they keep some of that high interest that they're getting from the central bank, but also for other reasons, such as they already have lots of deposits. They don't really need to incentivize people to put money in their banks. They're doing that already. So a huge advantage is that you're getting bank beating annual equivalent rates of around 5%. And I'm sure as the central bank rate increases, which is likely to be the case, you're going to get an increasing amount of interest as a result of that. So Plum Interest is available to all Plum customers. I'm currently just the basic Plum customer, and you don't have to pay anything in order to actually activate your Plum Interest account. So all I have to do now is just press Get Plum Interest. And as you can see, there is another screen just because this isn't a savings account and there are some risks involved in putting your money into money market funds. So just a quick glance over the legal stuff. So by agreeing to these terms, you're just going over a few legal things, and there are 3 main points that are very important in this Plum Interest account. The first is that your gains will be reinvested constantly and automatically, so this actually frees up your headspace to do other things because the money that is put into these funds will constantly be reinvested until the time comes when you actually want to withdraw your money. The second is that it will take 1 working day to process the withdrawal. This is because they have to tie up the money market funds and all sorts of other things that happen behind the scenes. The third is actually quite important, which are the fees. So Plum are very transparent with their fees. So there is a 0.15% annual fee, and this is to Plum, and also there is a 0.1% annual fund manager fee, and this goes to actually holding any sort of money market funds, and they say that this money market fund is based on one from BlackRock. So essentially that is a total expense ratio, and that is something that you have to pay to the fund manager, and that is nothing that you can escape from. So if you agree to all of these terms, please do read carefully. You can just press the tick and press confirm, and there it is. There's a new pocket pocket called Plum Interest, and underneath fund name we can see that it is the BlackRock ICS Sterling Government Liquidity Fund. So this fund is based all on government bonds, and government bonds are by far the safest bonds that you can get because they are backed by the full support of the corresponding governments. Now all I have to do is make my first investment. Let's do this Jubair style and add £10 worth of funds. Now I already have my bank account linked with Plum and I want to put in £10. It makes it very easy. All I have to do is 10, which is 10, and then press continue. Now just to confirm that I'm going from my Halifax account to my Plum Interest account and press confirm. Just need to review my payment. Press continue. You're going to have to go through a few steps on your banking app and you won't be able to see this on the screen currently. And there we are on it. £10 will be deposited into Plum Interest and I can press done now. So there we have it. We can see that my total balance is £10 and 2 pence and I have two pockets. One is the primary pocket given to you free by Plum. The second is Plum Interest, and as you can see it is easy access, meaning that I can take out my money whenever given 1 working days of notice, and currently the annual equivalent rate of interest variable will be 4.99%. So let's just go into the Plum Interest account and press that. So as you can see from my activity, there was a manual deposit today, and you can see a bit more information about the account. So here we see I have a current balance of £10. I have a variable annual rate of 4.99%. And currently my earnings are £0, so I'm not expecting money to be rolling in right now. It will take a bit of time, especially given the fact that I only have £10. If I had something like £1,000, you would be seeing the interest adding up daily. But because Plum will manage this by themselves, you don't have to worry about the behind the scenes. That will just get reinvested. And eventually in the pockets menu, you can see the interest gained. Now, if you really wanted to, you could also see the BlackRock fund details. So like I was trying to explain money market funds before, this is the money market fund that this fund is based on. So here it says that this low risk fund generates interest from investing in high quality assets. These include government bonds. So interest that is generated from short-term loans increases the value of the fund, allowing you to earn a return on your money in the short term. So you can see that when I said before it was all government bonds, you can see around 80% of it is in government-backed short-term loans and around 20% of it is in government bonds. Typically, these will be a bit longer, maybe from 1 year to 5 years, and maybe in some cases over 10 years. But currently, as the bond yields are quite high, we are actually seeing shorter term bonds giving out more than longer term bonds. So for my guess, it will be those shorter term bonds. And if you wanted to know more about the fund, you can see the name of the fund, you can see the size of the fund, which is £4.22 billion. You can see the yield after fees, you can see the fund manager fee, which we talked about, otherwise sometimes known as a total expense ratio, and we can see the service fee. So this is the amount Plum will take for managing all of this as an annual basis. And right at the bottom here in jalapenos or chili peppers, we can see the risk level as a measure of how risky these investments are. And as you can clearly see, it is one of the lowest risks that you're going to get in any sort of investment. This is mostly due to the fact that the money invested here is backed up by the government. And although it is possible for a government to collapse, if that really does happen, then any other money you do have in any sort of bank will also not really be worth much. So as far as investments are concerned, money market funds are very, very low in risk. The fund manager for Plum Interest is BlackRock, an investment company with massive global presence. Your investment is safeguarded by a regulated custodian. So if anything happens to Plum or their fund provider, your assets will be passed on back to you and cannot be touched by anyone else. In the unlikely event that Plum defaults, together with the custodian failing or some other failure, the value of your assets held by Plum is also FSCS protected to a max value of £85,000 if this scheme applies to you. So if you're someone who has the majority of their money tied up in bank accounts not giving much interest, then why not look into Plum Interest, where you can gain a lot more than what you can in the high street banks. Furthermore, Plum Interest could be a great place to put your emergency fund if you're investing for the long term. Because of its easy access nature, you only need 1 working day and the money will be sent back to your account. So make sure to check out some of my other videos and I will see you in the next video.